Okay, welcome to How to Love Your Haldane Part 2. This is what's called the Sleeping Beauty wheel at the time. It's about 50 years old. It has worked extremely hard in some very harsh conditions where we've sat in the tent and continued our demonstration in spite of the fact that it's snowing or raining or whatever it's doing. It's a very good wheel in terms of being utterly adjustable, and the tensioning device, as with many wheels, is a screw here in the front, and you can see how much it's been tensioned because all of the finish is essentially worn off, but that moves the mother of all back and forth so that you get whatever tension you want. The drive band is a double drive band with a husky butt in the middle of it, and you have the cross on the bottom if you're spinning in this direction, this way. If you're spinning in the opposite direction, the cross moves to the top of the wheel. You don't have to do anything to adjust to spin S or Z twist. You just turn the wheel which direction you want it. This wheel has a 7-to-1 ratio. So every time the big wheel goes around once, the bobbin goes around 7 times. And for some of you, that's a fairly low ratio. It's low if you're spinning cotton. You can treadle until next week. Linen, it's better. Wool of the kind that I make, which is generally a 3-ply knitting yarn with a lot of loft. Thin threads, but lots of loft in the finished plied project. It's perfect, and it treadles like a dream. It is very, very, can I say that again? Very forgiving, and it is, I'm trying to get close enough here. There we go. It only squeaks if things aren't twisted around enough. But, you know, when you get to be this age, you get to be finicky if you want to. Okay. So, a couple of things about this that are interesting, different, whatever. The leather in the uprights that are holding the flyer on, that's leather. Okay. Those are the original leathers as well. That's what they came with because that's one of the places you oil. They're probably going to outlast me and will never have to be replaced as long as you keep them oiled. Spinning wheels need to be used, and that's when you're doing maintenance, and they will hold up for who knows how many hundreds of years if you're taking care of them properly and using them. I think the problem with old wheels a lot of times is that they haven't been used, so things haven't been tightened properly, or the wheels have had an opportunity to get worn or whatever. And one of the things that we noticed of this wheel, what happened with wheel, first couple of days was nice having this wheel, is those nice little grooves, cuts, word, grooves, groove, thank you, better what, groove, here, that with it appeared, it's just mark in days, wheel that's, and they've never just the marker of a but been used. Wheels, not any wheels been used when you look at tell because at all the wings, if the wrist, you can those between the whirl and the back wing upright. You can see I have a nice Russian bead. See, that's a antique Russian bead that has a big enough orifice to it, big enough opening to it, that it can take this, and there we go. I can't, there we go. Take the size of the shaft and keep it distanced. Okay. You may notice that the pegs on where my wheel is held in place are essentially backwards, and that's for a reason. And it's one of those things that you learn through experimental archaeology. And with experimental archaeology, you're using their tools and equipment and their techniques, and finding out what that means in terms of wear and tear and things like that. About 25 years into this, I noticed I was having some trouble with the wheel, and turns out the uprights were wearing in the direction of the treadle of the footman. So I was getting an angle like this on the treadle. So I took the uprights off, switched them, turned them around, and put them in, and I figure I'm good for another 25 years, which actually should be coming up about now, before I would have to turn them again so they wear evenly. So the pegs should go this way, but because of turning the uprights, they're actually going this way. And yeah, they do fall out some, but they're really not necessary. They're more or less, you know, I don't know. I've never found them to be necessary, but they do keep things from bouncing a bit. Now, if you notice on my treadle how close it is to the floor, okay, and that is to keep you from having to do too much work. Okay, it almost touches the floor, not quite, okay, and then when it comes back up, it's not coming up very far. So that down, okay, is really a minimal amount of work on your ankle. And I like to tell tourists I've been spinning since I was 12 and my ankles are indeed both the same size. What else did I say? Well, anyway, this is a historically correct wheel, to be sure, and one that has certainly earned its keep.